Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. As always, I've got my co-host here, Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, appreciate you being here. We got a big week coming up in WCS, a new event, and then one that's practically new that we need to talk about.
It's kind of like a superstar, right? When everybody identifies with you with one name, you know, Jordan, Ali, Magic, Madonna, right? The workout.
The workout.
Pretty good. You know it's a big deal when the workout. That's all you got to say.
Because it's really the only
workout.
one. It's the only one.
It's the only one, and even if it wasn't the only one, it'd be the best one.
Well, one of the things I love about, and we're talking about the event that we mentioned a few weeks ago. It's our version of a combine. We've got 10 players from all schools here in WCS who are going to be participating in front of some college coaches. Two big differences. The FBS coaches can attend, unlike these third-party events, and we're not charging any money. I'm not against people making money, but
correct.
This is better and it's free.
It's better and it's free.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's 100%. And so what's cool about it is not only can the Power 5, Group of 5, the FBS schools come, they are coming, which I know you're going to get to in a second. But it's well represented, and you're right. It's nobody's making any money on this. So what this is a true evaluation period. I mean, I don't know if we can use that word either, but we can on here.
No, evaluation's good.
This is a true evaluation day.
We'll have some competition. You know, we're going to get heights and we're going to get some 40 times and some broad jumps. But the part I'm looking forward to will be our coaches down there in the trenches. We'll have our assistant coaches working together, and we'll have the O-line and D-line doing some drills together. We've got the linebackers, the DBs working together, and then we've got the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, some of our skill guys working together. And it won't be any of this. You know, I've seen it on social media where, you know, I get a little rough and throw you to the ground, and that's not happening.
No.
It's going to be more like a pro day setup is what I believe.
They want to evaluate the kids, see how they move. As you mentioned, if you're an offensive lineman, as Coach Joins talks about a lot on this show, be working on your Achilles tendon flexibility.
That's right.
You need to be able to lay those heels flat. It's going to be fun, man. And again, like we've talked about, a lot of these guys, they just want to, if they got a kid in mind, or maybe they don't even have them on their radar yet, but when there's nothing like, it's like anything else, right? It's like your dad, my dad. They don't like to text. I want to look at you when I'm, Mr. Cardwell, I'm sure. I want to look at you when I'm talking to you, boy. Right?
That's right.
Same thing, these coaches, there's nothing quite like looking at him going, they say he's 6'2", but is he really 6'2"? Yeah, he's 6'2". So it's awesome. Hopefully the weather will be beautiful. Centennial's got a great turf field, and Coach, I think a lot of people that haven't been over there in a while, Coach Glass and Dr., you know, they call him KD, so I guess he's DKD now, right? Dr. Kevin Dyson, they've added some touches and
That's right.
Enhancements to the facility, so it's going to be a fun day for sure.
We're going to have a pretty popular high school sports radio show there too, Tate.
We'll be there. We'll be on location. Kirby will be setting us up. You'll be there. Krager will be there. Pulliam will be there. Get some of these coaches in here. Like I said, I said it every week, and I'm going to keep saying it. I knew it would be good because when you all, and by you all, I mean Dr. Qualls, you, WCS, when y'all put your mind to do an event, it's always first class. Look at the Wilcos, the media days, the game days. So I knew this was going to be good, but brother, I promise you, expectation has exceeded. I mean, the turnout has exceeded expectations. I mean, there's some schools on there now. They just don't do this.
Well, and here's the thing too, Tate. We're not past this year yet, but as this thing grows, and it's going to grow, there's no telling what it can look like. Let me just give a few schools. Now, by the way, this isn't all the schools.
Oh, it's
these are the confirmed schools, which means they registered. There's going to be some folks show up day of, even though we asked them to register their coach. They're going to show up, and we're not going to turn them away, by the way. But here's just a few.
But it would be nice if they would just.
It would be nice. It would be nice. I mean, I know you're on the road, guys, but just
Come on.
Get in the Google Doc and answer it. Here's a few schools maybe you've heard of. Clemson.
Oh.
The Horned Frogs of TCU.
The runner-ups.
That's right, runner-up. Purdue, the Boilermakers.
TJ Sheffield.
Navy.
Love it.
Liberty.
Except I'm kind of mad at them, but they fired Ken.
Did they fire him? Spend more time with my family.
Yeah, right. When he pops up as an analyst somewhere, you'll know. But that's still awesome, Navy. We've had a lot of great kids go there.
For sure. Liberty, Ball State, Missouri, Indiana, Vandy, Princeton's one I like, Arkansas State.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick. Of course, we're going to have a state presence. Maryville, Sewanee,
Hey,
Carson
do
Newman.
you know who the head coach of Sewanee is now?
The guy that used to be at MTSU.
Andy McCollum. Andy Mack's going to be here. That's great.
MTSU, of course, Carson Newman. And listen, you can't have an event like this, Tate, without a little wings up. Tennessee Tech
Tennessee
in the house.
Tech's in the house. Coach A, Coach Hatfield will be here. Hey, Liberty, a little side note on Liberty. Jamie Chadwell, he's skyrocketed to superstardom in the coaching ranks, right? Was at Coastal Carolina. You know where he got his start? You don't. In East Tennessee.
I was going to guess.
In high school.
Oh.
Under a man by the name of, who was the first guy to come in here, go no backs and fling that thing around?
What?
Jack Daniels.
Are you kidding?
He's a Jack Daniels guy.
Wow. Okay. Is that a morsel?
That's
It's
a nugget.
It's actually a meal.
I thought that was a gem, but
It's pretty good.
that's your deal. But I thought it was pretty big.
It's very big.
Princeton, Ivy League.
I love that.
They don't come if your kids are getting 17 ACT scores.
Correct. And from what I know on that school, and I'd have to go look at this, but according to one of their coaches that we talked to, we've had like 7 WCS students attend that school to play.
Pretty strong. Is there another exciting one that you can let loose right now or no?
Well,
Because I think this is
word
super cool.
on the street is we're going to have the Giant Killers
Oh, man.
from Appalachian State come in.
I love that.
So
And more to come.
more to come.
And it's going to be a fun day.
It's going to be a fun day. Tate, let's talk a little softball.
Okay?
Final score, Brentwood 6, Centennial 5. Centennial, that's a big district game. Brentwood now 5-0 in the league. Centennial jumps out 4-0 early. And when 4-0 in softball is sometimes hard to overcome. But what's Brentwood do after trailing 2 innings? And by the way, Lauren Johnson of Centennial hits a grand slam. She's having a great year. Brentwood responds with a 6-run third inning to take the lead 6-4. They hang on 6-5. Maddie Mason, during that big rally, drove in a couple runs. Marina Mason, sister act, so to speak. Maddie and Marina.
Very good.
Tabby Deck, Maggie McClendon, amongst
All-Will
others.
Coast softball name team.
Tabby Deck?
For sure.
It's good.
I love it.
It's really good. So, big win for Coach Powell and her group. I know Coach Serban, they were disappointed, especially after taking that lead. So, a season sweep for Brentwood over Centennial. And if you remember, that was the game earlier in the year. They did the WAKM, the radio broadcast.
Yep.
Charles and Joe
Out
there calling the game. That was a cold one, by the way. I came out for that one. It was a little chilly.
A little chilly. I wish there were, you say you wish you could. By the way, you wish you could back up the start because it's so cold, but then heck, it was cold this weekend. By the way, we come in our man Primetime. Did you see the spring game?
Did you notice on the back of his jacket it was in there?
We coming?
Yeah, it was in the
I
hood.
missed that.
Like he had a hood on his jacket and it had "We Coming" on it.
Unbelievable. But one, they showed last year's attendance. This year it was full. But 2, snow flurries.
He had a cowboy hat on. You know what I like
Not
about
fun. I don't want snow flurries in the end of April.
I love redemption stories, by the way. But I thought it was pretty interesting that Coach Prime was talking about, we're recruiting and high character and I noticed one of the young men that he just picked up got kicked off the team at Kentucky. So I'm assuming, he's looking for him to. And I believe in that, by the way. I just think it's funny when you listen to him. He's just like.
Well, it's just funny that the redemption stories always happen to be really good players. like remember what was Jimmy Johnson's thing? He cut that rookie for falling asleep in training camp. And
It's one of my all-time favorite
what would you have
stories.
done if that was Troy? Was it Troy
No.
Aikman or Emmett?
No.
Irvin.
They said Irvin just because the hypothetical, because they knew it probably could have happened. Coach Johnson, what would you have done if Michael Irvin asleep? I would have said, "Hey, Michael, wake up."
At least,
There's a lot of truth in that.
oh man, and whoever you're a fan of. Oh, I bet Nick Saban doesn't put up with that stuff. Do you? Come on.
I bet he does.
Can't be that naive. Hey,
Well, I'll just put it this way. Here's the truth. The further down the bench you are, the more you're not putting up with it. And that's just the truth. Those guys don't want to say that out loud, but
doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It makes it the way it is.
it makes it real. That's what it is.
We've been talking about it. Brentwood's getting, I hate to use the word rebuilding, but I guess that's what it is. She's rebuilding. They're getting better. They're getting back to where they were.
They've had these other pieces. Remember,
Yep.
they had the,
Yep.
and I apologize, I forget her name. She's a Wilco finalist that transferred in, hit all the home runs. They've had that. What they've not had is the pitcher.
That's right.
And that's what Marina's doing for
Got
them.
one. And she's going to be around for a while.
She's going to be around. Let's talk a couple of baseball games that were non-district games, but they're WCS games. Franklin with the 6-3 win over Nolensville. Good win for Franklin. They
Big
got
win.
run ruled early in the year, 12-2. Centennial with the 6-5 win over Indy. Hey, although they went to the state tournament last year, I feel like Centennial, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they hadn't been great in baseball for a lot of years. I don't know. It seems like they tend to fly under the radar in baseball.
Yeah, and I think Coach Boffin will tell you is because they've been inconsistent in putting it together. One game they hit well and maybe not throw so well or defend well, but when they put it all together, they are a state tournament caliber team again. So I think that's why they're flying under the radar. I don't think they're flying under the radar with the other coaches because they know when they put it all together. And that Franklin-Nolensville, that was a huge win for Franklin. Because I believe Nolensville and Indy play this week for first place, don't they?
They do. That'll be a 3-game series. Franklin's going to turn around and play Brentwood in a two-game series
Right.
because Overton and
Correct.
Hills, they don't have enough pitching. Let's go back to the Franklin game. 5-inning, rain-shortened game.
They don't have enough pitching for a 2-game series.
Well, in proof of that is Franklin had swept Overton earlier in the week, and they'd outscored them 24-2. So if they had gotten to pitcher number 3, I don't know what would have happened. In that Franklin-Nolensville game, again, rain-shortened, 5-inning game, Alex Eisenbeck, 2 for 3, drove in a couple runs. As you mentioned, Nolensville now takes on Indy this week. Franklin takes on Brentwood. In the Centennial game, Ryan Sweeney, who's having a heck of a year. He gets a 2-run home run. He also comes in at the end of the game, cleans it up, gets the save for the Cougars.
Yep, that's a big win. There you go, right there. That's what they're capable of when they put it together. So tournament time is going to be fun.
It is, and it's coming.
We come. Wings up.
The soccer.
Hey, Ryan Sweeney, can I get a wings up?
Let's talk a little soccer. So, a battle of the traditional powers, right? Brentwood with a 2-0 win at Franklin. Jack Boring, Cooper Bailey, both with goals for the Bruins. And Tate, I thought this was interesting. This week's gem is one you'll like. So Brentwood's now 15-0. They were 13-0 after that win over Franklin. Since then, they beat Father Ryan and Rossview. This season, they have defeated 4 defending state champions, one of which was Page earlier. So that's pretty strong.
That's very strong.
Pretty strong. He, like you said, Coach Purcell usually keeps it. I thought last year he talked where I could tell it. He's really talking that way about this team.
Man, this team's good, and
They're really good.
Hey, take those. No disrespect to Page, that was a great win. But those 4 state champions, the biggest win so far is Franklin. Franklin's really good this year. I think they're ranked number 2 in the mid-state in soccer. That was a big win, man. This team is 15-0.
Listen, we love the Cookie Monster,
Cookie.
Jeremy Cook, but we coming.
Cookie.
Whoever you get,
Yeah.
you're not beating them this time.
Not this year, Cookie.
No, pack your
But that's
stuff up.
okay. That'll give you more time at Double Dogs come May. We'll come up and meet you. Hey, no, yeah, you're right. This. I think we got a chance to see a Wilco on Wilco. There's a lot that needs to happen.
Right.
But I think we got a chance to get another Wilco final in the big class. Going to be fun. That was a really good win, man. They're playing well. I need to ask him if he's ever gone bell to bell, number one, undefeated state champs.
They've won 19 in a row.
Yeah, but I don't know that I don't know that a year after that, when they're the defending state champs, that they've gone undefeated and won it. They might have won it.
Now, first of all,
that's pretty strong.
if you're able to ask that question, that's like Barbara Campbell. Hey, coach, you ever had a situation
That's
where you
right.
won it, and then the next year you never lost in the blue unis, and I mean, that means you've won a bunch when you can ask a question like that.
Correct.
So they're good. I'm going to tell you this. I hadn't been around here as long as you, but if they end up winning it, which I think they will, I think it's going to be the best team they've ever had.
And they've got a national championship.
I think it'll be the best one.
Yeah, I
don't
think
you?
he does too. You can't get him to say it, but Coach P's a man of few words. But he kind of smirks when you ask him how good this team is.
Come into May, I bet he says it,
Yeah, probably.
because I think they're going to win it.
Oh, and remember a few years ago when maybe Coach P couldn't coach anymore? Okay.
By the way, we didn't say that.
No, of course not.
Border battle. Indy, 5-0 win over Summit. So congratulations to Independence for that win. Last week, Tate, we talked about a big tennis match coming up. Brentwood Franklin. I had the opportunity to go out and watch that match. Brentwood gets a win in boys and girls. They win them both 5-4, girls 5-4, boys match 7-2. And I was thinking about your famous quote that you always have about Brentwood and track. Franklin in boys won the number 1 and number 2 singles match. They lost.
You would assume they're going to win the match.
They lost 7-2. Girls, Franklin wins the number 1 and number 2 singles match. Brentwood wins 5-4. So it was what?
Man, that's 2 gyms in one show, almost back to back.
So what would you call that? What you say that is?
Am I allowed to say it? Death by a
It
thousand
didn't-
cuts.
It's never stopped you before.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
It really is. That's what. And in this case, on the boys' side, it was 7 cuts. On the girls' side, it was 5. But really good match. Number 1, I do want to give a shout out to the Franklin number 1 player, Aubrey Carper, 8-6 win over Emsley Meyer. Great match. And then on the boys' side, Jake Dunn with a 9-8 win over Evan Lee. A lot of people, and rightly so, say he's the best player in the district, but it was a really good match.
Yeah. Oh, it was over at Crockett Park, right?
At Crockett, correct.
Nice facility, great match. Again, you can't, you haven't beat them yet. That's kind of what Brentwood says. Consistently. But Franklin's dang sure closed the gap.
They have. I mentioned this last year, too. It shows you, you're really good. When Brentwood's girls won the state last year as the team, it was the most unenthusiastic celebration I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is normal.
It's part of that, though, tennis. Like, come on, act like you've been there. There's a code of conduct in tennis that maybe.
Well, this won't surprise you. But when I played tennis, I didn't adhere to any of that.
Throwing your shirt. And
No, I didn't throw stuff. I didn't throw my rackets out. I didn't have money to spend on a new one.
No, but after you won, throw your shirt in the stands. Go up and hug your mama.
Going to the crowd and there was nobody there. I'm looking for somebody to hug. But maybe. But they won the whole thing. I'm like, come on, let's
get after it.
I was excited, but they're really good. I'll say this: the title obviously comes through WCS. Ravenwood, Brentwood, Franklin, any of those teams could win it. You just got to survive our league,
right.
Which is hard to do.
Really hard to do. Well, everybody's talking Brentwood Franklin right now, but right, don't be surprised if Ravenwood doesn't knock one of them off, and they're the ones in the tournament.
I like what Coach Bates has done there at Ravenwood. If you look at numbers, he's got the biggest team. I think he's got something. He's got the JV team too. Like, I don't want to misstate this, but I was thinking he said at one time 80 people out playing tennis.
That's huge. That's bigger than a lot of schools' football programs.
It's pretty good. And I may be saying it wrong. Coach Bates probably isn't watching the show to correct me, but I think that's right. He said
John Shane's watching it. He'll probably tell me.
John Shane watches?
Oh, yeah.
Does he have like little rabbit ears out in the shed?
Well, he watches it on his phone over at the Mapco because that's what he goes there every morning and that's his office and he watches the replay.
Now, I love Mr. Shane. He's great, but
Good man.
you said his office. I mean, the man's retired. What's he doing?
Well, all I know is I bump into him at Mapco. I'm like, "What are you doing over here?" He said, "This is my office."
You know what it sounds
He's
like to
drinking
me?
coffee and eating a biscuit.
You know what it sounds like to me?
He's getting out of the house.
No, what he should have done. Like I told you that, the legendary Mr. Cardwell. When I said, "Hey, Mr. Cardwell, next time, we're not going to have a good team. I'm going to do that thing that a lot of people just say when they either want to quit or they got fired. I'm going to spend more time with my family."
Right.
He said, "Maybe you ought to ask your family first." So maybe Mr. Shane should have asked when he said, "Hey, I'm going to retire to spend more time with my family." Apparently, he didn't ask his family.
Yeah, that's when his wife got him the field maintenance position at a zero supplement at Ravenwood.
Great dude.
He's still there.
He's a great dude.
He's the best.
He really is.
He's probably at this point now, outside of Dr. Vaden, seen more Ravenwood Raptor football games than anybody.
That's true. Definitely true. And he's a big fan of the Raptor mascot. I know they're close.
Very tight, very close.
Let's talk a little flag football, Tate.
Okay.
We played our final week of the season, and then this coming weekend, the Titans are doing a little renovation on their field. So unfortunately, we couldn't play the tournament there this year. We still appreciate what the Titans have done for us in making this thing happen. But we had games at Franklin, Brentwood, Ravenwood. Now, to show you how close it was, if you take a look at the final standings, we had 4 teams that were all 2-6. 4 teams. We had 3 teams that were 5-3. Franklin 7-1, Fairview 6-2, and that came down. They played each other the final game at Franklin. Franklin gets a 6-0 win to secure that number 1 seed. But we had to get into the tiebreakers. So the 4 teams there at the bottom, Brentwood, Centennial, Nowensville, Independence. Brentwood and Centennial were 2-1 in that group. That's how you do the tiebreakers, right?
Okay.
So 2-1. Brentwood beat Centennial. So that makes them 6, makes Centennial 7. Indy and Nowensville head-to-head, Nowensville won. So they're the 8, Indy's the 9. So either any of those teams could have been 6.
Right.
So it shows you the parity. Then you take a look at third place, same kind of thing. Brentwood, Page, and Ravenwood. No, I said that wrong. Ravenwood, Page, Summit, all 5-3. Against one another, Ravenwood 2-0, Page 1-1, Summit 0-2. So Ravenwood gets the 3, Page gets the 4, Summit gets the 5. Don't count out Coach Hester, man. I'm telling you. I know Mama Hester's watching, but I mean it when I say it. And I know Coach Webb was like, I wouldn't mind being in the opposite bracket of Ravenwood. Not only because they're hosting the tournament, but more importantly, I think he thinks they coming.
Really?
Yeah.
They went 2-0 on Sunday, didn't they? Ravenwood?
Did.
Yeah. He thinks they're playing better. He'll be dialing it up. That's parity for you.
It's parity.
Is there a Page kind of, I don't want to call them, they were the dark horse going in and they go all last year. But
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people pick them. You want to step out on the ledge here and say, hey,
So if I'm not mistaken,
they're coming. They're going to be in the championship game, and a lot of y'all aren't counting on them to be there.
I think this might be the exact same bracket as it was last year.
Really?
If not, it's close. So let's go through this.
Okay.
Let's go. It's an all Wilco deal. So you and I are going to go through our bracket.
Okay.
So Nowensville, Indy start this thing off. The 8 versus the 9. Who do you have in that game?
I'm going to go Indy.
You like what Coach Forte's? They got a big win yesterday over Brentwood, which I think a lot of people surprised them.
I know, and I just think they've got a couple of players that are mismatch problems that other teams don't have. So I like Independence. I shouldn't say that. I'm picking Independence to win that one.
I'm going Nowensville.
Okay.
So we got So that makes the bracket now. Franklin versus Indy or Nolo. I think we both will say Franklin advances to the semi.
I agree. By the way, isn't it funny how that works? Even though it's flag football and it's high, Franklin beats Fairview 6-0. Who would have thought that? And then I'm pretty sure, wasn't it that Ava Webb pulled it down and took it in on the ground, correct? I think it was a touchdown run, or was that another game?
I think they had it wrong. It may have been it was a lateral kind of play. But yeah, it was written that way.
Man, because when I saw that, I was like, that's awesome.
But she's
been throwing dimes.
No, she's big time involved, believe me. And I tell you, Gardner.
Player.
Man.
But 6-0, those two teams?
Yeah. You get the sense, and it's the same thing with Ravenwood, I think. It's like one score here or there. Although Coach Hester and his squad against Centennial scored 48 points. It's not like Centennial's terrible. They scored 48. Okay, so we're saying Franklin. Now, here's one. Page versus Summit. Page won during the season 13-12. Who you got?
Page.
Okay. That was kind of quick. I agree. I'm going Page. But I think it's a great matchup. Coach Martin's done a great job there at Summit. Bottom of the brackets, you got Fairview, the 2, against Centennial, the 7, Ravenwood, the 3, versus Brentwood, again, first round.
Battle of the Wood.
First round. So who you have in those two games?
Fairview Centennial, you got to go with the Yellow Jackets.
I agree.
Battle of the Wood, I think you got to go with the Lady Raptors.
So this would set up last year's Final Four. So last year, to remind our folks out there watching, Page upsets, even though they had a good team, Franklin in the semis, and then Ravenwood takes out Fairview and then just dominates the final over Page. So what do you see happening here, Tate? Franklin versus Page. Who you got?
Franklin's been the best team all year long. I don't see any reason to think that they don't go into they have some seniors. They've got some older players. So I think they're experienced. I don't think we have to worry about being nervous pregame, jitters or any of that. So they've been the best team so far. I think they carry that into the championship. The Lady Admirals.
I agree, Franklin. Here's one I'm interested to see what you think. Fairview versus Ravenwood. During the season, I think it was a 1-score win for Fairview. At Ravenwood.
I think that's the game to go to if you can only go to one, because I think both Coach Hughes and Coach Hester are going to have some wrinkles that you probably haven't seen. I think it's been hard for them to hold them, but they're both going to have some wrinkles that you haven't seen. It's going to be exciting. I think it'll be the higher scoring game of the two. But at the end of the day, when you have two really good coaches, what ends up being the deciding factor? The X's or the O's, or the Jimmies and the Joes?
No question.
Or the Janes and the Jills?
The J's and the J's.
I'm going with Ravenwood.
Now, see, you surprised me. I thought you'd go Fairview, and I'm going to do the same.
Okay.
Sorry, Coach Hughes.
Hey, he loves it.
He's done a great job. He really has.
He always texts me. I love it when you two pick against us, because that means we win. So he's probably going to be happy.
Well, here you go.
There you go. You got your way.
So in the final, are you going with the homestanding Raptors to go back-to-back? Or are you going with Dr. D? Let me pick first. That way it's not like I'm just following you.
Okay.
This year, they've been motivated. I hear them talking about it on the sidelines. It's going to be Franklin. Franklin's going to win it this year. I believe that. But I think it's a great matchup.
Franklin? Summit gave Franklin their loss, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that means they beat Ravenwood. Well, they're the best team. But come tournament time, here's what would worry me. Did you notice Coach Hester and the young ladies he was taking the selfies?
I love when he does that.
He didn't take the selfies earlier in the year because I think he didn't know how good they were going to be. He's taking selfies. He's tweeting them. What does that mean? I feel pretty good about this team. I'm going with the visor. I think
to go back to back.
But Franklin's got Coach Beebe too. I was going to say they got Coach Mancini. They just got a lot of good things going for them. But then Coach Beebe's over there with the Admirals. I'm going with until to be the man, you got to beat the man. And until they beat him, I'm going with Ravenwood.
No matter what happens, it'll be a fun day.
It's going to be a fun day.
It'll be
Plus,
a lot of fun.
I hope Coach Hestering, Coach Webb, they're good friends, but they've been known to get into it during competition. I hope there's maybe a little verbal confrontation between those two. That'd add to it. Be great. It's going to be a great day.
I think so,
Okay,
too.
so I'm going Ravenwood. You're going
Franklin. Okay. And for those out there that are used to our picks, it'll probably be Fairview with the win.
It'll be Fairview and Page.
Well, since they're not playing next year, maybe we can make that the Battle of 840 trophy.
Wow.
It's a whole nother story that we don't want to get into.
It's another show. It's going to be fun, man.
It is.
It's it's going to be at Ravenwood. Is it all going to be on the game field?
No, so what we'll do is, the 8-9, it's the only game being played at that time. That'll be on the game field. And then the sides of the brackets one will be practice field, which is still a nice field, obviously.
Yes.
And one's the game field, the stadium field. So the ones side of the bracket, Franklin side, they'll play their games on the stadium field. Fairview, the number 2, their side of the bracket, plays on the practice field. They come together for the final. So it'll be fun. Get out and watch some, by the way. If you haven't watched flag football, check it out. It's really a lot of fun.
I'll be excited to see the student sections because you can tell they've been there every Sunday. So I'm hoping I hope they turn out for the championship.
And come out to the workout. It's open to the public.
Yeah.
We'll start at 9 o'clock, but for those of you that are out there, you're not getting on the field. You can't. You got to stay in the stands.
If you don't have credentials,
You can't be bothering the coach. Hey, I want to talk to you about my son. No. Just stay back. It'll be fine.
don't be down there asking Coach Hall for Dabo's cell phone number. We want them to come back.
Right. So we got Fletch and the crew will be there, so it'll be good.
Yeah. Have you gotten commitments from Pulliam and Joe and Krager to run the 40, or is that out?
Well, I can assure you Krager's not running the 40. And I can assure you Joe's not running it either. So we'll just leave it at that for now. Tate, thanks for being here.
Yeah, man. We got a big real quick, and then go. The best event of the spring is happening Thursday, the Grade 8.
Grade 8's
Can't wait
good.
to talk about that.
No, that's
if
great.
you looking for something to do, go out to Harpeth Hall. It will not disappoint.
I said that's great. It's the Grade 8.
No
But it's
pun
a
intended.
wonderful event.
Yes, that's right.
All right, Tate. Thanks, man. I'll see you this weekend.
Okay, brother.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.